It's because they, like I said earlier, man, they need the immigrants. It has to be theater. It has to be a spectacle. It has to be a show. Because they need the immigrants. The rich people need them. They need to exploit them. They need them to exploit them. That's why they're doing this. This is the way it's always gonna be. Okay? Unless... This is the way it's always gonna be if people keep buying into your ideology. Because it's always gonna be brown people's fault. And then, the government is gonna say, okay, we'll do something about the brown people. And then they'll pretend to do something about the brown people by brutalizing a fuck ton of them. And then at the same time, they're going to start wars overseas and import more immigrants and exploit their labor. And they're going to continue exploiting the labor of the ones that are already here that they just so happen to not brutalize. That's what's going to happen. Every time. Every fucking time. Every president. Every liberal president. Every Republican president. They're all going to do this. They're going to do the same shit. Over and over again. Over and over. Because even the liberal ones... Even though they're all woke and they love the immigrants, they at the same time they need to brutalize them to create an atmosphere of fear, so that the immigrants are more accepting of lower wages, lower living conditions. That's what's happening. That is what's happening. That is what has always been happening. That is what needs to stop.
Just total, just evil, sadistic darkness to fucking kill people. Like, that's what gets them up in the morning. And a lot of people don't think about that.
Yeah, that's what I live for, brother. Yeah, roll.
Like that, you know,
that's. I think Nick makes a very the most relevant point with the Charlie Kirk thing, and I thought this from the start when you started hearing people like Dan Bilzerian, who I do respect, but coming out and he's just insistent. This is not left and right. This is them boys and everybody else. And it's like, even if that is entirely the case, and I am willing to grant that it is probably most of the case. But even if that is true, you still have people on the left that want conservatives, and whatever the heck we are, dead.
Yeah.
And like, you cannot rationalize your way out of that problem. And
I think that a lot of disillusioned leftists, a lot of angry leftists, especially right now, they'd love to see fucking the most extreme racist like you swinging in the street. You know what I'm saying? Like, swinging as in, like, hanging by the neck, okay? At the same time, though, you know, I don't feel that way. I don't think a majority of leftists want that anyway. While they may hate you and despise you in the rhetoric you push, we just want an end to the brutality, an end to the police state. You guys are defending the police state. For many, many years, you said that you were the anti-authoritarian, you were the anti-police state, and it was the leftists. It was the woke Marxist communists that wanted the authoritarianism. But now that we're here, now that the secret police are blackbagging people, kidnapping them off the street and sending them to concentration camps, you are defending it. And people are understandably upset by that. By you, by the, not you, you're a small creator, okay? But like, the likes of Nick Fuentes, Tucker Carlson even, okay? These guys that just constantly defend this shit. That's it.
And like, you talk to the older generations, many of them, who they don't understand the depth of how much.
Yeah, no shit. Old people are fucking... Old people, they're not very smart. Okay, they're not. I don't know why. I don't fully know why. Okay, I could give you multiple reasons why. But, like, I think some of it is still a mystery to me. Okay, it eludes me. Number one, lead. Lead in the gasoline. That's it. Okay, I've talked about this multiple times. It's been a little while, though. Leaded gasoline is the reason why your parents are stupid. Okay? It's not in your head. It's not, your mind is not playing tricks on you. They are dumber than you. They are, okay? Now, if you're a young person and you're saying, well, my parents aren't that stupid, ask yourself this question. Did your parents grow up in a rural area, or did they grow up in an urban area? Okay, if you don't know the answer, consider asking them, okay? At the same time, it doesn't really matter, okay? It is what it is. Okay, knowing isn't going to change it. Anyway, if your parent grew up in an urban area, they probably grew up around a lot of cars. A lot of cars with leaded gasoline, which was pumped into the atmosphere. Now, lead is a heavy metal. Actually, it's very heavy. It's one of the heaviest metals, other than, I think, tungsten. It floats in the air, and then it falls to the ground because of how heavy it is. Okay, so like the lead, the molecules, not the molecules, the atoms, the lead, they are in the gasoline, and they are released into the air, and then they float down. But as they are floating in the air, you have the opportunity to breathe it in, and it affects your brain. It makes your brain not work so good, no more. Okay, now, if your parents are especially stupid, and you're wondering if it's the lead poisoning or maybe something else, then ask yourself this, okay? If you have siblings, look at your oldest sibling, the oldest one, okay? Are they stupid? Like, noticeably stupid? Like, more than you and your other siblings? Okay, the reason you should ask yourself this is because the firstborn of a mother with lead in her bloodstream will get the brunt of the lead poisoning. Okay, basically, imagine you're a woman and you're growing up in the city, and it's pre-1997, and you're getting all this wonderful lead, okay, and it's affecting your brain, so you're not so smart. And then you have a child, okay? That child is going to get most of the excess lead in your bloodstream. Okay, they're going to get it. And it's going to affect their brain, okay? And then they're going to be born, and, that's what happens, okay? And look, lead poisoning, it's nothing to be scoffed at, but it doesn't, especially in a majority of cases in America where, we're talking about trace amounts of lead, okay? But it has certainly marginally affected our population. And this is why old people are like this, on average, okay? This is why. Not all old people are stupid, but most of them are, and it's because they were breathing in lead, bro, and the older they are, the worse it is. The worse it is. Think about it. The oldest people that you know, they were breathing in lead for the longest. Okay, the first 60 years of their life, they were breathing in lead. Right? If a person is like... If a person, like the oldest person that you know, probably like 80. Okay, so that means, yeah, for like 60 years, the first 60 years of their life, leaded gasoline was available and like pervasive in society. It's lead, bro. It's lead. That's why they don't get it. That's why they're slow. Okay, that's it. We are smarter, fortunately, at least a little bit, because we didn't get the lead. We didn't get the lead in the gasoline. At the same time, though, our educational opportunities were much more lacking in substance than their educational pursuits. You know, what I'm saying is the Reagan admin gutted the Department of Education. So, you know, our education is worse, but I think we are, like, more developmentally stable, if that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, like our brains didn't get all fucked up by the lead in the air.
Like vitriol is there. And I mean, I hate these people. On some level, I do. Like, I just do. And maybe that's not good.
Cool.
But, like, I'm sorry, I can't stand.
Yeah, like, it's how.
Well, I don't hate you. I don't hate you, man. You know, I know you hate me. I know. I hear it every day. But I genuinely, as bigoted as you are, as evil as you are, racist even racist, I don't hate you. I want good things for you. I want you to have free healthcare. I want you to have opportunities, job opportunities, educational opportunities. I just don't want you to have this job opportunity. Okay, I don't want you to have the content creation, the political commentator opportunity. But I want you to be successful. I want you to be successful in other things. And I want you to have free healthcare, and I want you to have everything that you need. I want you to have fucking utilities and shit, and a roof over your head. Everyone should have it. And they can have it. But for some reason, we don't. Very mysterious. Sometimes when I think about this shit, I wonder if there were like medieval peasants that were like me. That were like wondering, like, why am I a serf? Why am I tied to this land? Like, what's going on here? How do we deconstruct this? You know? Yeah. I don't know. It's a mystery to me.
Hubris, right? Like,
it really is.
I mean, especially seeing the celebration of Charlie's death, but that woke me up to the fact that, like, there is no even possibility.
Okay, so look. Did libs revel in Charlie Kirk's death? Sure. Okay. You need to account for the size of his platform and the intensity of his rhetoric. You see, conservatives, they are constantly downplaying what Charlie Kirk said and how racist it was. They say, oh, he was a moderate. No. He was mainstream. That doesn't mean he was a moderate. Okay, he was mainstream, and that's how they try to justify it. Well, he had this broad audience. Well, that's not what makes him a moderate. That's not what makes anyone a moderate. Okay, Charlie Kirk said prowling blacks go around after white people all over America. That's racist. That is a disgusting, racist lie to smear black people. That's what it is. He was a fucking racist, and I'm not glad that he's dead. But I ain't gonna shed any tears. And that's the general attitude, man. That is the general vibe. Yes, there were leftists that got a little too rad lib with it, or whatever. They got a little too mean. Okay? But let's not pretend like the right doesn't do this as well. You know what I'm about to say? You already know. You already know whose name I'm about to say. It's George Floyd. George Floyd, famous fentanyl overdoser. Yeah. Let's not pretend like the right didn't talk shit about him for years, when it's very obvious that he was murdered. He did not die of a drug overdose. And yet, every anniversary, every year, like clockwork. And they will this year too. But that's okay. That's okay when you guys do it. But when we make fun of an evil racist that advocated for more gun deaths in America on our, like, I'm not even exaggerating when I say that. He literally advocated for more gun deaths. He justified it, and he gets murdered by a lunatic gun nut or whatever. He was a trans. He was dating a trans person. Come on, man. That kid, that Tyler, he did not do it. He did not do it, bro. It was Israel. It was Israel for sure. I'm gonna keep saying it.
And tell somebody like, well, it's like if you actually treat people...
I'm gonna keep saying it until there is like some, cause like I don't even really think it was Israel. Okay, I feel like Israel's got bigger things going on than Charlie Kirk. You know, did they murder Charlie Kirk? Nah, because like he wasn't going that hard with the rhetoric. Okay, like no, I don't think they murdered him. Not really. But like I said a few weeks ago, there's still to this day no viable alternative. There is no other narrative that makes sense. It wasn't Tyler. It wasn't fucking Tyler. We could argue about that all day. I'd love to, man, because it wasn't him. It just, like the current narrative, it makes no sense. And so what does that leave? You think some Frenchman did it? You think it was the fucking French? No, it had to be fucking Israel. That's the only other option. It's the only one. Anyway, I'll be right back.
People this way, then we get better outcomes. Like, you already know that people are not thinking about politics like that. Because if they were, basically every leftist policy would have been dead hundreds of years ago. Because it's like proven itself to not work. But the bloodlust is starting to startle me a little bit. Not like scare me in the sense of like, oh, I'm gonna get killed, obviously, but in the sense of like it's starting to feel Bolshevik, and that's how I felt in the BLM stuff. I'm actually from Seattle, and so
oh really? Dang.
I was living downtown Seattle, dude. So that where I practiced lacrosse in high school, that field was where the Chaz was.
Oh, where they did the garden?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And so I mean that radicalized me like crazy. But I just like. I was a little bit startled at the zealotry during 2020 because I feel like that came out of nowhere. Like, you remember the cancel culture? I mean, I knew friends that were getting blasted on like Instagram for, something that they did. And I was like, my God, I've never seen that behavior come out. Now, I had read the Gulag Archipelago, and I don't know if you've read it, but it thoroughly freaked me out reading about what had gone down in Russia. And I saw so many similarities in 2020, and I'm starting to see that again, where it's like that they're possessed. And I really do believe that's what's going on. I mean, these people they're captured by ideas. They're not just inspired communists that like read the manifesto in college. Like that's not what happened. Like they are taken over by whatever this force is. And I actually think on some level we're a little bit disadvantaged because we don't have that ideological drive. And there is kind of that martyr like ideology of like, I'm going down with the ship no matter what. What do you think about that?
No, that's actually a pretty good idea because we do have a lot of disadvantages there, because their whole thing is, and
they're just giving the game away. They're just saying like, yeah, we really have no fucking, we don't give a fuck. We don't give a fuck about our rhetoric. Like, yeah, man, we know. You have no spine. You have nothing. Yeah, and leftists are evil because they have real convictions that are rooted in an actual, like, thoroughly thought out ideology. Yeah, man, we're evil. Okay. Very cool. Anyway, the idea that we're possessed by demons is also an old fucking stereotype or adage or whatever the fuck you want to call it. I don't know. I'm gonna just let them keep rambling.
The advantage they have is as soon as one of them questions anything, they get eaten alive. But it doesn't happen enough to where it's gonna like topple their entire movement. That's why it's still around. And then also they have a lot of advantages. They do have that questionable loyalty to whatever belief or idea they have. They do have that hive mind mentality.
Oh god, we're only halfway done.
Doesn't really survive that long. The lone wolf it dies. So when you're a part of the pack, when you're a part of that group, you just do more. They're way better at mobilizing.
Totally.
But also at the same time, after January 6th, I think Owen Shroyer, he talked about this with Zeb Boykin on his or Zeb Boykin, I said his name. He talked about on his podcast like this week that after January 6th, basically any chance for the right to like kind of mobilize and have real movements, it basically got crushed because January 6th was really used as a way to just kind of make people think that that's an evil thing if right people get together outside. The left, they don't have that. They have a lot more advantages than we do.
Totally. I mean, they framed. This is what's bothered me so much about January 6th. It's like they got the best possible.
Not really evil, but it was more as framed as like impractical to the continuity of our government. Does that make sense? Like, I don't think people really saw the Jan 6ers as like straight up evil. Okay, like just evil plainly. Okay, I think that's an extremely reductive way of putting it. And I don't think a lot of leftists did that. I really don't. Because the anger and resentment is understandable. It is. I think even the average leftist at this day and age, and even back then, even back in 2021, they understood the anger. They felt it. Right-wing people are angry, and they should be. They're just angry at the wrong things. They're angry at Jews, at brown people. It's none of that. It's not any of that. It's rich people. Always has been.
Propaganda out of it, and we didn't accomplish anything. And that's what bothers me so much about what I see on the right wing.
They killed Martin Luther King. They'll kill me. They'll kill Hassan. They'll kill everyone that says it. But I don't care. It's fucking rich people.
The very thing that they've always said we were to like the NPCs. And it's so bothersome when you look at something like that where everybody on the left thought that the right wing was full of like insurrectionist Nazis basically. And
it is.
On some level, we start thinking like, I wish we were as based as they thought we were. Like truly.
That's how we thought about Trump. It's like, I wish he was like that.
Yeah, I know. There are many moderates in your movement. I know. Okay. But there's a ton of Nazis. Like, you are chock full of Nazis. Come on. There's like, you said it yourself. We're growing in numbers. There's tons of people who think like you. I don't think that's true, by the way. I don't think you are growing in numbers. But yeah, anyway, there are tons of Nazis in the right-wing movement. There's tons of them. What do you mean? You're one of them. Like, you don't, like, I know you must talk to other people that think like you. You guys are Nazis, okay? Look, if you want to be a Nazi, if you want to advocate for Nazi ideology, you can do that. It's a free country. Freedom of speech, baby. But don't try to say like, oh no, actually most of us are moderate. Well, you may be correct about that, but I don't really care. What I care about it is the extreme ones, okay? The yeah, are there moderate Republicans? Yeah, there are. There are tons of them. Okay, a majority even. Okay, nobody is like saying that. Well, no one is factually stating that all Republicans are Nazis, okay? They may have, like, Nazi sentiments, racist, or Nazi apologia, racist sentiments, stuff like that. But you're not all literally Nazis, okay? You're not all advocating for Nazi-style regime and brutality. Although we're getting closer, at times, I feel like, when you have moderate figures like Asmongold saying that, leftists should be murdered and mass deported and by the tens of thousands. Which is literally something he said yesterday, by the way. I'm not exaggerating. Okay, you said that we should, like, I should arrest, what did he say, like 20,000? Said 20,000. We need to arrest 20,000 liberals. Okay, it's stupid. Okay, it's stupid. That's Nazi shit. That's the Nazi shit. Okay, that's it. Moderates, they don't really feel that way, and leftists aren't really getting that twisted. But we are going to focus on the most extreme people in the movement that have a platform. You have a platform. You have a small platform. But you have a platform, and you are extremely racist. So I'm focusing on you. I'm focusing. That's what I'm doing. That's why I'm doing it. I would never try to say that most Republicans are like you. Are you fucking kidding me? But they on their way. Though, and that's the problem.
Compare them to some prominent men in the past, and everybody's like, yeah, everybody's like,
and I feel a little more secure about it now. Because of all of the brutality that ICE has done, and people are seeing it, and they're disgusted by it, and you have people like Joe Rogan, who are like, oh, I didn't know it would be like this. Oh, I had no idea it would be like this. Like, yeah, man. Yeah, you had no idea. But, like, the fact that some of you are saying stuff like that, it makes me feel a little bit better. But the fact of the matter is, my neighbors are becoming Nazis. And I have a problem with that. And it's because of guys like you. I blame you. Just like how my watchers, my viewers, they blame me for the wokeism, for the mind virus. I blame you for my neighbors becoming Nazis. I blame Nick Fuentes. I blame all of you.
oh boy, like I would love for that to be true. And the left, like, they don't even understand what we're saying, but it really does. I mean, it really does bother me that nobody has the political will to go all the way. And Fuentes made a good point about this, where it's like performative cruelty, it seems to be. I saw this great tweet today that spoke about how the administration seems to be
it's vice
over the
signaling.
window back.
Yeah, but the difference is between, like, because that kind of sounds like what he was saying there. He's obfuscating again. Obfuscating. My bad. Pronunciations. It's not my forte. But anyway, when Nick Fuentes says stuff like that, performative brutality, okay, he said that a few months back as well. This is another moderate play, okay? He's trying that, because that's like a leftist thing to say, right? It's just another way of saying vice signaling. But the difference is Nick Fuentes thinks that the performative brutality is not enough. It's not enough. No, it's not real brutality. We need more. And the leftists say this performative brutality is too much. It's too evil. It has to stop. That's the difference. Okay, and the reason I point this out is, again, because Nick Fuentes is trying to paint himself as a moderate. He is trying to make himself appear like he is a chameleon. Okay, that's what he is. He's a phony. He's a faker. Just like all of these dipshits.
Intentionally, because what they're doing is so non-productive to their actual goals that you're like, well, they clearly don't care about this enough, because it starts becoming like the dog not barking. Like, well, if they really wanted to solve whatever problem, we already know the answers. So why aren't they at least trying to get those implemented? Why are they doing a half measure? And this isn't my unique take, but like the old saying that's like grasping the nettle versus touching it. If you grasp this plant, it becomes soft, but you have to really manhandle it, and if you touch it, it stings you.
It's because they, like I said earlier, man, they need the immigrants. It has to be theater. It has to be a spectacle. It has to be a show. Because they need the immigrants. The rich people need them. They need to exploit them. They need them to exploit them. That's why they're doing this. This is the way it's always gonna be. Okay? Unless... This is the way it's always gonna be if people keep buying into your ideology, because it's always going to be brown people's fault, and then the government is going to say, okay, we'll do something about the brown people, and then they'll pretend to do something about the brown people by brutalizing a fuck ton of them, and then at the same time they're going to start wars overseas and import more immigrants and exploit their labor, and they're going to continue exploiting the labor of the ones that are already here that they just so happen to not brutalize. That's what's gonna happen. Every time. Every fucking time. Every president. Every liberal president. Every Republican president. They're all gonna do this. They're gonna do the same shit. Over and over again. Over and over. Because even the liberal ones, even though they're all woke and they love the immigrants, they, at the same time, they need to brutalize them to create an atmosphere of fear, so that the immigrants are more accepting of lower wages, lower living conditions. That's what's happening. That is what's happening. That is what has always been happening. That is what needs to stop.
And that's all that we do on the right wing, is we touch it and we don't grasp it. And the left is so much better at that. And there also, I think, is something dispositionally disadvantaging about people like us, because to your point, it's like we have the personality of like kind of the lone wolf thing, and we don't want to bow down to a collective ideology. With the left, they're happy to take much more. So you think about it like this.
Yeah.
You have a lot of people on the dissident side
that you're all on your own,
either weren't politically involved or didn't vote for Trump or whatever in 2016, voted for Trump in 2020, and then didn't vote for him in 2024, or maybe voted for him and they dislike him now. It's like, talk to any liberal, they've hated Trump for a decade.
Yeah.
And like we have actually often changed our minds on things. But they're happy to. I mean, the Biden.
That's because you flip-flop. We hate Trump because we always recognized what he was. A fraudster. And when I say we recognized, I don't mean me, okay? I mean the woke hive mind, okay? The collective. Liberals as a whole, they recognized who Donald Trump was, what he was going to do, way before I did. personally. But that's it, man. That's why they never liked him, okay? The libs, they always knew that he was a trickster, a fraud, just another rich guy. Just another rich guy, but this time, he was trying to become fucking president. So he could get even richer. Which is what happened. He became president and then got even richer. That's it.
The thing was so absurd how you have one day, literally one day, they say that these are cheap fakes. This is right-wing propagandists selectively editing videos. Then the debate happens. Jake Tapper accused Laura Trump of mocking the disabled when she said he's clearly like declining. He's over the average age of an American male's life.
She did.
Obviously, he's going to be declining.
Yeah.
How is
But that's not the point. Okay, that's not the point. The point is that like she was making light of it. Okay, and anyway, I'm not saying that I agree with Jake Tapper that we should be outraged about that. I'm just saying that he was being accurate in her because what did she say again? I mean, maybe it's worse than I remember. I don't know. I don't know. But anyway, who fucking cares? Who cares about what Zionist Jake Tapper is saying? The answer is our parents, okay, which is extremely problematic, but fucking what? That's the way it is, okay? He's a fucking Zionist,
is that
of
even
course.
controversial? It's like, no, you're mocking the disabled, and then Jake Tapper comes out with a book that's like whatever it's called, the cover up, and it's like every liberal that you would talk to was happy to switch their view on it as soon as the approved narrative came out, and it sounds so like, I think at least it kind of sounds like the this know-it-all, above-it-all mindset of like, oh yeah, well once they got their marching orders, but it really is true. Like they actually have to look at that to see what's acceptable in their discourse. Where we're not the same way. Ours is they're top down and we're like bottom up, right? Like people start spouting ideas. Some people get sliced down, and others are like, oh, this is the right take, and then people start coalescing kind of towards the truth. And I don't mean it right-wing.
Actually, that's a decent way of putting it. I don't think I've really heard that much before. Yeah, I think that right-wing people do often capitulate to the dumbest of the dumb. The dregs of the movement. The most racist, okay? You have to appeal to the super fans, right? Like with media, like with Star Trek, okay? You gotta appeal, you gotta do some fan service, okay? But leftists are, we're a little different, okay? We're built different. Okay, we don't do that. We try, there is a little bit of that going on with leftists, okay? For sure. An appeal to, but I would frame it more like an appeal to moderates, okay? Like leftists do this to appeal to moderate people, okay? So you are kind of wrong in that, like, leftists, they just get their orders from the top down. Like, nah, not really. Like, there is definitely an attempt to appeal to the dumber people in the movement, okay? But the more moderate people. But when it comes to right-wing people, like, yeah, that's definitely true. Okay, like you gotta sprinkle. If you're not racist enough consistently, then every once in a while you gotta sprinkle some in there. You know what I'm saying? You gotta Salt Bae it. Anyway, Salt Bae the racism.
Like the standard conservative dissident side is much more truth-seeking, but on some level, it's like we our inherent personalities disadvantage.
Yeah, so truth-seeking.
Yeah, it's kind of like when you're talking about the normal conservatives, it's kind of like they have the same attitude towards things. Like they're diehard MAGA Trumpers, right? But it's like we don't have all the benefits that like the left have with them being just like undyingly, just unapologetically worshiping whatever narrative they're a part of. And it really just kind of goes to show like the individualistic mentality. We're not even playing the same game. And we do have a problem where a lot of people on our side.
I think you're mistaking worship for confidence. I think leftists are significantly more confident in their worldview than Republicans, because Republicans take the turn your brain off approach. Okay, the common sense approach. Oh, it's just common sense. It's just common sense, which is code for it's the first thing that I thought of. It's the first thing that came to mind. Okay, common sense. Libs, they overthink. Conservatives, they're just common sense. Okay, that's the narrative. Okay, but that's why it's like this.
Yeah, right.
Okay,
they don't
that's
acknowledge
it.
that there are factions. They kind of think it is like you mentioned earlier. you know, it all comes from them boys, and that's if we got rid of that problem, then everything else would go away. And it's like, well, no. And I even talked about this in my last video. It's like, look, this. You think if them boys weren't around, that woman in Minnesota or Minneapolis or whatever, you think she wouldn't have been there? She would have been there. It's
Right,
like
exactly.
they're still kind of subscribed to this mindset. And the hive mind, you know, it is powerful. It is strong. You don't have people questioning things. There was a study that came out last year, and I didn't read the study. I just saw like the basic graph, but it had like a graph of conservative thinking and then liberal thinking, and it proved that liberals tend to be less diverse in thought than conservatives.
I saw that as well. Yeah.
And it's like, well, they say they're diverse, but they're not. We know that, but now there's actual evidence to prove that, and it's like, well, it does have benefits. And the benefits are...
That's because, I think that's because it is twofold, but I think it's mostly because the libs and the leftists alike, we mostly blame the rich people. Okay, there is some variation there. Okay, some people say, nah, it's like, it's culture, it's the racism. No, that's, you know, I say as a mega woke leftist, okay, as the most woke, I say that racism is the symptom. Okay, or, well, it's part of the strategy, the broader strategy, but it's not the main thing that you need to be combating. Okay? The main thing that you should combat is the rich people, because the rich people are making the racism to make the people fight each other so that they don't rise up against the rich people. That's it. That's it. That's what they're doing. They're dividing us in other ways as well, but that's just one of them. That's just one of them. Okay? So, anyway, leftists are all in agreement on this, but right-wing people are like, no, like, they'll disagree with each other, like, no, the problem's the Jews, no, the problem is brown people, no, the Jews are making the brown people, you don't get it, okay, and it's like, it's this shit over and over and over again, and it's like, does that create the illusion of diverse opinions? Yes, it does. Is that really a diverse set of opinions, though? I don't think so, okay? And we could talk about that. We could have a long-winded conversation. Once again, I could talk about that shit for probably a few hours, okay? But anyway, I'm not going to do that now, so...
kind of kicking our ass,
Let's keep listening.
It's like, well, fuck, maybe
in my comments I'll talk about it. Maybe in the comments of this video,
being
right?
Your own person. And I'm not here to say that we should have like a dictatorship or whatever. I know there's gonna be a bunch of people in the comments that are gonna be like, no, that's the answer. But it's like maybe there is an advantage to having people that.
Well,
don't
we already got one
because some people just.
Hey, we're here.
They don't make the right choices.
And we got it.
100%. And that is, you know, I was very liberty-minded guy. In fact, when like the BLM stuff happened in 2020, I would say I wouldn't have classified myself as an actual libertarian, but I was very much libertarian-minded in the sense that, like, if you let 130 IQ white guys basically govern themselves, like, you're going to get the next Rome. But what I've come to notice, and this...
Yeah. Like, dude, look, say it with me. This is Nazi shit, okay? The idealization of Rome is Nazi shit. Let's talk about how Nazi Germany came about, okay? Weimar Republic was it was a constitutional republic modeled after Rome. Sound familiar? It should. It's like our country, okay? It's a lot like our country. Deep anti-Semitic roots. That was the Weimar Republic. Now we're here, okay? Now you're listening to these guys idealize Rome just like the Nazis did. It's just Nazi shit, man. Like, they keep saying, like, you just call us Nazis. You just write us off as Nazis. Let me fucking Sieg Heil here on stage in front of the entire nation. That wasn't a Sieg Heil. You're lying. You know, it's like, dude, you can't keep saying Nazi shit. You can't keep doing Nazi shit and then saying, like, why are you calling us Nazis? Well, it's a real head scratcher. I don't know. Why are we calling you Nazis?
Presumptions of liberalism, like this universal man concept, this blank slate. We are looking for a universal answer, and we're looking for a system that is self-correcting and self-governing. And the right is saying, you know, like, okay, for example, the classical liberal would shoot down the idea of like a king or any type of monarch in the sense that like a dictator. And
look, this idea of self-regulating government it's ideal, it's idyllic, and it's unrealistic furthermore. Okay, so like my argument my ideology, okay, leftist, communist, socialist, whatever you want to call it, whatever the fuck you want to call it, I call it radical wealth redistribution. Okay, is it idealistic? Sure. But I would argue that it's also realistic. Okay, it is practical, even. Okay, but this ideology is not practical. Not at all. And furthermore, it's not realistic. The government isn't going to regulate itself. It's going to take more power. It's going to take more and more and more. As much as it can. Okay, because the government is an entity. And it is strategic. Okay, and you can try to set up some kind of, conflict within the government to make it regulate itself. But what is inevitably going to happen is something called collusion. You see this in our own country. In the United States of America, you are supposed to have this, disconnect between the branches of government and between the intelligence community. But recently, it has become more and more apparent that the branches of government are colluding with each other, and the intelligence community is also in on it. They are also colluding. So it's multiple things. Okay, it's multiple things happening at the same time, but none of it's all in the name of government regulating itself, but it never does that. It never fucking does that, man. So the answer isn't to create a government that regulates itself, but more of one that can contain itself from becoming authoritarian for as long as possible. Because this is the part of Trotsky's ideology, as much as I make fun of Trotsky, that I think is kind of right. Okay? Until we create this perfect utopia where we all just hold hands and sing Kumbaya, until we can do that, and we all have what we need, until we can make that society, there is going to need to be a revolution to get to that society, most likely. Okay, so what I'm saying is, government is never gonna make itself perfect. Okay, it's never going to make itself ideal. We have to do that. We have to make the ideal society. But now we're at a point where a lot of people are asking themselves, is this society the most ideal that it could be? And the answer is obviously the fuck not. So what are we gonna do about it? Look, rich people, this is my message to you. I know you're not watching, you're too busy enslaving children in the third world. But if you are watching this, we need radical wealth redistribution, bro. That's how you stop this. Okay, that's how you stop what I'm talking about from happening. Okay, because if the way things are going, people are only going to get more violent. Resentment is going to rise. This is going to lead to conflict. This is going to lead to at first, like you're seeing right now, okay, it's civil disobedience, and then it's more pervasive retaliation against police, against institutions, and then it's going to turn into something even worse. Something even more violent.
Synonymously, they would shoot that down because
sorry if that's
you don't
depressing.
know if the king is
My
going
bad.
to, be mentally ill or
Let's
whatever
keep listening
it is, right?
to these
and it's
dumbasses.
yeah, but that doesn't then imply that a system that removes executive authority doesn't have the capacity to degrade itself either. And this lust for, if we just set it up like this and then we open the floodgates, it's all going to work perfectly. And I'm very much of the mind now where I think that we don't have to be seeking this all-encompassing answer to our politics. It very may be likely that like for 10 years we do need a dictator.
Yeah.
And again, that does not mean that you're of course going to have.
We're dead.
The transfer of power back to democracy or whatever. And I'm not saying I support democracy, but my point being is like, I'm not.
Let me hear that again.
Like for 10 years, we do need a dictator.
Yeah.
And again,
we do need a dictator. We need that. Yeah. Yeah, bro.
This,
yeah, we. Oh, yeah. That's really what we need right now.
That like for 10
You're
years,
so right,
we do
bro.
need a dictator.
Yeah.
And again,
for 10 years. Okay, who's that dictator gonna be? Who's the dictator gonna be? J.D. Vance? That's the guy? Cause who is it? If it's not JD, who is it? Who's gonna be the dictator of America? And that's gonna fix this shit? This is what I have to do, dude. This is what I've chosen to do this. Okay, I've chosen to do this job. This is what I have to deal with, though. Dude, I'm gonna lose my fucking mind, dude. I can't. I'm gonna start screaming, man. I don't know. I don't know.
But my point being is,
oh my god. Yo, Michael Knowles, dictator. Dictator of America. Let's
abandon the universal
10 years, dictator. 10 years. It'll fix everything.
Universal moral principles, but I am saying that like a very powerful executive branch or something like that maybe mimics a dictator. Like we can't just scratch it off the table because we've been propagandized against it. Like it very may well be actually necessary that we have to implement a different government for this 10-year period, and then a different one for the next 20 years, and then a different one for the next 10 years after that, adjusting to your real-time conditions. And I think so many people are
people are uncomfortable with it. Yeah, people are uncomfortable with the dissolution of our government. Yeah, people are kind of uncomfortable with it. Yeah. Look, even though obviously I'm on the opposite end of the political spectrum, I kind of agree with him. Okay, I don't ever advocate for working within the system. I advocate for changing it. Changing it by any means necessary. And that, regardless of what a lot of leftists will tell you, I don't think that means we need to deconstruct the entire government. We need to disassemble it. Okay, I think that the constitutional republic structure should allow for us to make adequate changes, to allow for radical wealth redistribution, which is the main thing that we need to do. Okay, and that's why I advocate for it. That's why I keep advocating for it, and I'm gonna keep doing it. I'm gonna keep doing it no matter how drunk I am. I'm gonna keep fucking doing it. Okay, and I'm gonna do it on the internet too. And I'm gonna do it while I'm drunk on the internet too. Because look, radical wealth redistribution is what we need. It's what needs to happen. And anybody that tries to get in our way, they must be stopped. And people will try to get in our way because they'll be paid by the rich people to get in our way. We have to stop them. But we have to stop blaming minorities. We have to stop blaming Jews as a collective, as a nation. We have to stop blaming them. We have to. The rhetoric that you are pushing is bullshit. And it's wrong. And it's not going to lead to any proactive change. It's just going to lead to more violence, more division, which is good. It's good for the rich people. That's what they want.
Comfortable with that idea of like, well, are you saying that your proposed prescription isn't the perfect answer to governing mankind, which has probably been the most substantial question for the last 6,000 years? Like obviously, and you see that real deification of the American founding documents.
10,000 years. Okay, what he's talking about is like basically the dawn of society. Okay, agriculture. Here's what happened. I'm drunk as fuck right now. Here's what happened. Humans, we started farming. Okay, hoeing the land, dropping some seeds everywhere. Okay, that's what humans started doing. And then we started hoarding, collecting. Okay, this is where kings came from, emperors, leaders. of ancient society. They were the smartest farmers, the ones that capitalized on farmers anyway. And they rose to the top, okay? And these are the puppeteers. These are the original puppeteers of society. But now things have evolved. Things have evolved, and society is becoming unstable. It's evolved very quickly over the past 100 years, 200 years even. We industrialized. The economy, the global economy, looks completely different than it did 50 years ago, let alone 100, okay? And like 1,000 years ago, we were basically doing the same thing that we were doing 9,000 years before that. So things are changing rapidly on the grand scale, and we need to be aware of this because rich people are taking advantage of us. They took advantage of our parents. They gave our parents lead poisoning, and then they took advantage of them. I don't think I've ever said that before. That's a good line, actually. That's a really good line. That's what they did. It's true. They gave them lead poisoning, and then they took advantage of it. That's what rich people did, and now they've passed it on to their kids. And they're trying to figure it out. How do we hold on to it? How do we hold on to this wealth? Oh, I need it. I need to hold on to it. And we're getting fucked over because of it. And it's because of rhetoric like this. That's why.
Even now, I mean, you've made a video on the Constitution, dude. That knee-jerk response from so many conservatives.
And now they're saying, yeah, we need to get rid of the Constitution. We need to suspend the Constitution, which is the only document, the only fucking piece of paper with words on it that protects us. That says, government, you can't do this. And now the anti-big government guys are saying, oh yeah, we need to get rid of that. Yeah, we're so anti-authoritarian. We're so against big government. That's why we need to get rid of the Constitution, you fucking piece of shit.
When you even bring up the fact that it might be flawed in some way, I don't know if these people have read the Constitution, but most of it is completely banal. Most of it is like, this state gets 3 delegates. Like, it's not this
They haven't even read
grand,
it.
yeah, it's not this like grand declaration of like, and then mankind.
Yeah, welcome to 10th grade. Welcome to 10th grade government class. Yeah. Look, I've read the Constitution. What this person is saying is a lie. The Constitution is extremely important. I would go as far as to say that the filler that he's talking about is contextual to the time that it was written. Okay, like basically what I'm saying is the Constitution was written 250 years ago. A lot of what it says pertains to the conditions of that time. But now it's not like that. It's not like that anymore. So a lot of the rules in the Constitution seem trivial or benign even. But now, right in the current time, despite the fact that there are these trivial words in the Constitution, okay, there are many words in the Constitution. I would even say a majority of the words in the Constitution protect your body from the government. They protect your well-being from the government. This is evil propaganda. This is disgusting, like anti-liberty propaganda coming from the Party of Liberty, the Party of Freedom, brother. The Roll Tide, the Party of Freedom, brother.
Both the marble and the sculptor will like
fucking
put
piece of shit.
Whatever. It's like it's not like that. We can obviously assess it and say, hey, this thing that was.
When I hear shit like this, I get violent. Okay, I get like my blood boils. I have I think it's the alcohol, but I'm having visions of like stomping on this person's body until he goes limp and is lifeless. That's extreme. That my bad. My bad. Hey, but you know what? Fuck you, man. Fuck you. If I see you in real life, I'm gonna spit on you.
Honestly, wild to me that even there are people on the right wing that still cannot see past that. I mean, I'll let you talk in a second, of course, but
you're spitting fast.
Something that really bothers me about the whole thing is like just the idea that it's like out of the question. Like to even bring that up discounts your opinion, and it's like, hey, I thought we were somewhat of a free marketplace of ideas. I mean, I know we're obviously not, but
the idea of dissolving the government and instituting I presume a racist dictatorship writes you, yeah, that does write you off, bro. I would say that justifiably writes off your opinion. Yeah, I would say it does. Oh man. Oh, why are people writing me off when I just want to institute a overtly racist dictatorship? Yeah, I don't know. It's a mystery. It's a real Scooby-Doo mystery,
you would think
bro.
that people on the right would be better suited for that. You know, I talk to some people, and I hear their take, and I'm like, okay, come back to me in 3 years. Like, it's gonna take you 3 years to get red pill to the point that you need to be to even have a productive conversation. Like, I see that all the time. What do you think about that?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's the thing where...
Yeah, it's going to take you 3 years to become as racist as I am. Yeah, I don't think so. I think, if anything, in 3 years, I'm going to be less racist than I am now. That's my goal. Okay, not that I feel like I'm a racist person in the slightest. Okay, I don't think I am. But yeah, when it comes to, like, your ideology, I don't think I'm coming around, man. I don't think I'm ever coming around. So I guess your only option left is to come after me. You know, is to arrest me. Is to Clockwork Orange me. Well, I say, come after me. And see what happens. Because let me tell you something. Southerners, when the government comes for us, we first we start running, and then we start blasting while we're running, okay? Like, if the secret police come after me for what I'm saying, and, like, don't get me wrong, I'm extreme. I'm a communist. Like straight up, that's what they'll say. That's what they'll say I am. That's why they'll come after me. That's the excuse. Okay, that's what they did under McCarthy. In the McCarthy era. Okay, so they'll call me a communist, and first I'm gonna start running, and then I'm gonna turn around and I'm gonna start blasting. Okay, and that's what's gonna happen.
Nick, he keeps talking. He's like,
so
he just got red
let's
last
go.
Week.
Yeah,
and you
let's
saw
go,
one
bro.
TikTok video, and now you watched a fucking YouTube documentary by some dude who's never been banned off anything, and now you think you know all the shit that's going on. And it really is like, look, yeah, it's because the concept of, hey, the Constitution might be wrong, and also, like, think about, like, the version of the Constitution we have today. It's not even the same one. Like, it's been changed, and, like, essentially, the founding fathers are probably saying it's bastardized now. Like,
absolutely.
So it's like, dude, the idea that it's like, you can't touch it, but we touch it all the time.
Dude,
you
want to talk about the founding fathers? Okay, see, I also think that the founding fathers were dumbasses, and leftists, take notes. Listen to what I'm about to say, leftists. Okay? The founding fathers were heretics. They weren't Christian. Many Americans view them as Christian. Not just Christian, but like trad Christian. They weren't. The founding fathers were liberals through and through. The only one that was kinda not a heretic, I think, was George Washington. Okay? Which is part of the reason he was the president, okay? You know, there was a whole other list of reasons, okay? But like, that's a topic in and of itself, and also I don't really care that much for it. My point is, the founding fathers were heretics. They were Unitarians. No matter what, look, I'm sorry, Unitarians, I'm sorry, okay? I like you guys, I really do. You guys are woke. Universal Unitarians, I like that. I like how woke you are. It's heresy, though. Okay? The rejection of the Trinity. That's what Unitarianism is. Okay, now if Unitarians want to talk to me about this, because I haven't really had a lot of conversations with Unitarians about this, but if you want to talk to me about it, I'm open to hearing it. If I'm mistaken, but my understanding is that Unitarianism is the rejection of the Trinity, and that's heresy. It is. Okay, so this is what people need to understand about the Founding Fathers. Okay, this country is not rooted in real Christianity. It's rooted in liberal ideology. With a Christian coat of paint. Okay, with a Christian slant. It's not like Christianity is not the foundation, and it doesn't have to be. It doesn't ever have to be. That's not what makes a government good. When it comes to religion, what makes a government good is freedom of expression. Freedom for people to practice the religion that they want. That's what makes a government good. But furthermore, what makes a government good is equitable distribution of wealth, which is what liberal democracy did relative to the system before it, which was feudalism. Okay, feudalism, peasants, lords, kings, and then the colonies. And then the colonies were like, hey, we're really far away from the king. Why are we peasants? We're so far away from the king. Why are we peasants? That was it. That's the foundation of our ideology in America. That's the foundation of liberal democracy. These guys are like, no. We need to do authoritarian fascism, like the Nazis. Yeah, they had it right. Oh yeah, for sure. For sure, man. The Nazis they were a failing liberal democracy, just like we are. They failed. The economy tanked, and people suffered. So they elected the Nazis, and then they did what they did. Because they told the people, the reason that they got elected is because they told them, the reason that your life sucks is because the Jews made it suck. And we're gonna fix it. That should sound familiar. It's like I always say, that should sound familiar to you if you're in America. Here we go. So, which side will you be on?
I know you haven't read these things, because they'll tell you to go out and read Common Sense and all those, the papers or whatever. They'll tell you to do it. It's like,
papers,
the Federalist Papers. Like, they'll tell you to do it, and it's like, you haven't even read those. You obviously don't.
I 100%. And
But I did read them. I read Thomas Locke. Okay. Look, libs, they made a good thing. The liberals, the Founding Fathers, they made something good. They did. It was 250 years ago, man. It was back then. Now we're in the today time. That's what we keep trying to tell you. Okay, the liberals, they did it. They did it. Yay. It was great. It was great for a long time. It was a more equitable distribution of resources than feudalism. But now we are in the now time. We are in the today. We're in the current year. The current year, brother. Okay? And we need to think about the future, not tradition. Okay? Which party in this country is leading in the future, in the progress, I wonder? Which party could it be? It's yet another head scratcher. Okay, it is. It is.
He was like, every single gun law is a direct violation of the Constitution.
Oh yeah.
It's like, okay, so if that is the case,
no,
then what is your argument for?
No, it's not. It's not though. It's not though, because the Constitution says the people have the right to bear arms. You still Does this look like an arm to you? Does this look like an arm to you, bro? Okay, look, I got it. So what happened to my Second Amendment? It's right here. It's on my table.
For its utility. James Lindsay, who's just like, I've never seen somebody discredit himself more in such a short period of time.
You're so right, bro. The Second Amendment has been violated because I cannot own a ballistic missile system. That's why.
But like
because I can't buy one of those.
Right? They try and say,
yeah, man,
the Constitution either facilitated this or was too weak to stop it, and it's like, yeah, that's true. Like, what is your counter argument if it's not strong enough? And I'm not saying that a adjusted Constitution would have the inherent power to stop it, but what I am saying is I'm saying you as like the people that defend it without any clarification, they are making the argument that it should be powerful enough. And it's like, we're actually taking the pragmatic perspective and saying, why are we pretending that this like doctrine of statement?
So the Constitution clearly lays out that we, the people, are within our legal right to overthrow the government when it comes down to it. Okay, there are many, many hurdles that get in the way of this. Okay, obviously. But like, how do I put this? Like when the revolution is said and done, we don't need to dissolve the republic. We don't need to dissolve the Constitution, because it is within the legal parameters of the Constitution for us to overthrow the government. And we should. We should overthrow the government. What the government is doing is evil. What they've been doing is evil. Arguably since, since the beginning. Okay, when did... So first there was chattel slavery. Okay, that was at the very beginning. I know, it was a long time ago. But first there was chattel slavery. That's how we started. Okay? Then we got rid of that, but Lincoln was, first of all, a sympathizer to the Confederacy. Sorry, but he was, okay? And then he got assassinated, and then Grant took over, and he did Reconstruction, which, of course, was not enough. Actually, it was, despite the name Reconstruction, it was actually quite destructive for the black community, okay? Because Reconstruction was never about black people. It was always about doing damage control for the South and repairing the Southern economy. Excuse me. So, moving on from chattel slavery, then there was Andrew Jackson, okay, and he did a genocide of the indigenous population. Excuse me. Sorry, I drank too much. I'm okay, though. Andrew Jackson did a genocide over the indigenous population. Okay? Then we supported the Nazis. Okay? But basically, I'm running through all the bad shit that we did. Okay? That's what I'm doing right now. Okay? And I have a reason for this, but I'll get to it. So... then we did the Nazis. Okay, we supported the Nazis. We funded them. Then we fought them. Okay, we did do that. We fought them. We fought the Japanese as well. Okay, they were committing atrocities as well. Then something happened. That after we fought the Nazis, something shifted. Okay, and it was a lot. It was a lot at once. Like the time period between 1945 and 1972 is in my opinion the weirdest time for America. Like the most change was happening, but people don't really it's so weird. Like people acknowledge it, all these individual changes, but I feel like nobody talks a whole lot about the just the complete structural change of our society and its cohesion. Something very major shifted in in this time frame.
LKJIHGDC just followed.
Thank you for the follow, KGIHGC whatever. Oh wow. You know what? You broke my text to speech. Let's just read it out loud. Actually, never mind. I don't give a fuck. I'm too drunk for that right now. I've been drinking alcohol. What was I talking about? Let me rewind it real quick.
Clarification. They are making the argument that it should be powerful enough. And it's like, we're actually taking the pragmatic perspective and saying, why are we pretending that this like doctrine of statements has this magical power to enforce society? Carl Schmitt talks about this.
Because these magical words are, there is a mechanism for accountability. And I say this as a person, I understand how often the institutions, the individual actors within these institutions, police, police officers, they get away with violating it. They get away with violating the Constitution. And it's not just the police. Okay, the president also gets away with stepping around the Constitution. Yes. But there is still a mechanism for accountability through the judicial system. So these words aren't just nothing. They're not just words on paper. They are words on paper that protect you and me through a judicial mechanism. So they do matter. It's not that nobody ever gets away with violating the Constitution. Of course they do. I call it out. I'm calling it out right now, and I do it all the time. But this is how it works, okay? It's real. It is a real thing. What are we talking about? We're going to get rid of the Constitution now? Okay, let's get rid of it.
Where he says that
genius.
Sovereignty.
Genius idea.
I can't remember the exact phrasing, but it's like he who decides
this is what we're doing
what to
now.
do during the exception. And his point is like, if your norms are always followed, you don't need anybody to make a consequential
this
decision.
Is so
because
much
it's
worse
already
than
in
I
that,
thought
like,
it would be.
That decision chart, right? Like if yes, then this, if no, then this. But the people who really have power, and this is what Soros obviously figured out, is like, I don't actually need to change the laws. I need to buy off the person enforcing them, because it comes down to like a judge who really is deciding, like, are we prosecuting? Are we, whatever. And so few people understand that. And there's that deference to the system. Everybody loves to just be like, well, the system is that way. The system says this, so we can't. It's like, you're a human. I'm a human. All this stuff is serving humans. We don't serve the system. And it's like, I just truly don't understand how that is misunderstood so deeply.
No, I mean,
it really is crazy.
That's good rhetoric. I love hearing that from leftists.
The Constitution,
and from right-wing people as well.
It's not some magical book. It's not some.
I just don't like how they follow it up.
Magical paper. It's not some tome that's floating above Washington. And
yeah, I know. It's not magic. I know.
And it's enforced by people. Like,
there is a real, yes, it's not, but it's not just enforced by people, though. There is a whole system which is upheld through our collective national identity, which enforces these rules. That's how it works. That's what the Constitution is. It's words on paper that a judge interprets, that a lawyer interprets, and argue over. That's what it is, and that is an important mechanism for our survival. We have allowed the government to violate it time and time again since that time period that I was talking about. That's around the time it started. To be pervasive, anyway. Constitutional violations. The McCarthy era. Interesting.
We have an enforcement arm. If every man woke up tomorrow and decided, you know what, the 19th Amendment is bullshit, guess what? The 19th Amendment would be bullshit. It would not be enforced anymore. It's like, it's the same thing with everything. Like you talk about the judge. How many times do we see conservatives talk about how this judge didn't prosecute this guy, therefore this guy went out?
That actually, I can see how that narrative is convincing, but no. No, it's not just... Because what he's basically saying is like, oh, if enough people... men or anyone, okay, he used men here, okay, if enough men got together and were like, oh, we don't want women to be able to vote, then surely that would mean women can't vote. But you are ignoring women. You are ignoring like women. They still can talk. They still, like, the cat's out of the bag. The genie's out of the bottle. Women can talk. Women can speak publicly. Okay, they can advocate against these things. So no, it's not just if every man woke up, then yeah, we could take women's rights away. Like, no, it's fucking stupid. It's fucking stupid. If you can get enough women on your side, then yeah, then you could do that. Okay. But no, you can't just take a whole, swath of people, their rights away, just because, like, your group woke up and realized, like, oh, we should actually, we should reverse this decision. Like, no, that's not really how that works, man. There are more factors at play than just that.
Stabbed a white girl. It's like you already understand on some level that the system isn't being enforced the way it's supposed to, because it's people. And
exactly,
you have people who have more resources or influence or power that are able to manipulate that, and then you have others that are really just good at talking, and they're able to influence it by just kind of convincing people of ideas.
That's you.
It doesn't make
that's you and me, bro.
Think, well, maybe since the Constitution has been changed so many times, what if we did change it one more time? It's gonna get changed again eventually.
You and I are good talkers. Okay, that I don't think I've ever said this before, but like, I've always recognized this in myself. I'm good at yapping, and people seem to like talking to me, and they like, for whatever reason, see me as like a good person, a good friend, even that. So like, yeah, we're good at this, okay, and that is a strength against the elites, okay, and that's precisely why people like you and me need to be saying the things that I'm saying, not the things that the elites are saying, which is that it's brown people's fault, it's the Jews' fault, it's whatever else the fuck you want to say it is. It's just rich people. That's it.
Eventually, it's either going to be us or it's going to be somebody who wants you to die. At this point.
Well, I mean, how many times have you heard
that's what we want, bro.
say something like, well, he needs to stay in
court? I just want all white people to die. I want them to die and also not reproduce, not have any children. That's what I want. Me, a white man. That's exactly what I want. Yeah, man. Genius.
Or we'll see what comes out in the trial. And it's like, look, I'm not saying that our system doesn't have the capacity to result in justice, but like, by that logic, Derek Chauvin deserves to be in prison. And it's like, we cannot keep this deference when we know that the outcome is incorrect. And like, that's not the argument for that means get rid of every law, but what it is saying is, like, we still have to take note that somebody has to have this sovereignty that says, yeah, I know our system tries pretty hard, which I don't think it does, but our system tries pretty hard to produce justice, but in this case, clearly something went wrong, and we have to make a modification in order to rectify it. That seems so inherently obvious to me. I've been thinking a lot over the years about how you enforce, like, language laws, like, in regarding speech. And an example of the complexity of something like that, and this also explains the need for, like, a sovereign entity to be able to analyze this, is, Count Dankula?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, so he I think he's Scottish, and he tweeted about some dude, I literally didn't know the backstory, but he's like, just a reminder that it's illegal to post this guy's photo or whatever, unless you're American.
So, before I let him finish, and I'm gonna let him finish, I'm gonna let you finish, okay? I'm gonna let you. But, I just want to point out how crazy it is that people like this, they get away with saying stuff like, oh, we need to dissolve the government, we need to eradicate the Constitution, all this shit. And I don't advocate for any of that. But I'm a terrorist. I'm a domestic terrorist, dog. Like I don't want to get rid of the Constitution. I don't want to overthrow the government. I don't want to do any of that shit. Even everything I know. Even everything I know about it. How racist it is. How all of throughout the history of our nation, all of the institutions have been to oppress people and defend the ruling class. I still don't want to overthrow it. But I'm the terrorist. I'm the fucking terrorist, man. It drives me insane. It drives me insane when I read shit like this, and then I hear shit like this.